People are on. Oh, hi, Julie. Man, you're quick. Can everyone hear me? I am using a actual like microphone, so hopefully I have it set up right. Everybody's saying hi. Hi, Kate. Hi, Christine. Hi, Tracy. How y'all doing? And if I could just get like, okay, Christine can hear me. Okay, perfect. Is the volume like a good amount? Hopefully. Hi, Amber. How you doing? Hi, Julie. Sounds good. Okay, awesome. Yay. Well, one thing down. I mastered technology today, so that's good. Happy about that. Let's see. Um, as people are getting on right now, I am just kind of going to do a brief little introduction on what we're going to be talking about today, which is energy healing with cats and animals in general. So we are going to be covering a lot of ground. I wrote up a lot of notes, I'm not gonna lie. There's like a lot going on here on the side of my screen. So if you see me staring over here, that's why. And we are just gonna hope for the best. Hopefully I can kind of get through everything and have it make sense. That's really ultimately the goal. And then also if anybody has questions, definitely add it to the chat. I am gonna kind of keep looking at that throughout the session, just so I can touch base with whatever comes up. And actually, if anybody has any questions right off the bat, feel free to just type them up and we can even get started with that and see how that goes. So, give that a second. Okay, good. Tracy, thank you. The volume is good. Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Okay, so nothing is coming up question-wise. Oh, good. I already have cat hair stuck to my lip, so we are just starting off with a bang. That's how you know it's going to be a good thing, a good one. So, the first thing, oh, I'm wearing my, well, I'm reversed on my screen, but I'm wearing my Feline Starseed sweatshirt. So I'm ready for the day. Got the power of the Feline Starseed in me. So the first thing that I really want to go over today is honestly the power of cats and animals with our energy healing and how we can incorporate them more with what our energy healing goals are. So there's something that I kind of feel like there's a gap in when we are being taught various healing modalities because there's so much emphasis on us working on ourselves and working on other people that I feel like we kind of forget sometimes about our animals. I mean, I know I was guilty of that, so I feel like if I'm guilty of it, other people might be as well, and that is one of the things I want to talk about today. Um, Ultimately, cats can have and animals can have the same energy that we do. It's just in a different form. They're really the same as us. They just happen to be on four legs and have a different outfit. But ultimately, it's all the same. And it's really interesting because not only do animals have more like earthbound, I would say, energies that need to be cleared, like what we think of when we have various trapped emotions and just typical, the ordinary, like emotional blockages and energetic blockages. But they also have a lot of galactic energy that needs to be cleared as well, and a lot of karmic energy. In fact, there's two cats that I'm working with now with a client where they have so much karmic debt between them. It's it's insane, and it's so rewarding because the relationship between these two cats is like night and day. The owner is just like floored because they were so buried down between their own karmic debt between one another that they just couldn't see past that. But now with that energy being lifted, their whole relationship has changed. So I definitely want us as energy healers to really focus in on the cats that we see, the physical manifestation of the cat right in front of us or the animal right in front of us, but then also like the galactic version of them, because really there's multiple tiers to the energy that we get from animals. So I think that's one of the things that is really important to focus in on. Cats can have absorbed entities, they can have shared entities, they can have corded possessions, they can have, again, they can have everything that we have. and they can also share it with us. So sometimes it's really funny when you're working on yourself and you know you have like a shared possession, or you know you have something going on that's shared with somebody else, but you can't figure out who it is. Like, do you ever think to ask if it's your animal? 9 times out of 10, you probably don't, unless you're like actually like seeing it or hearing it. Um, so, oh, hi Melissa, how you doing? And hi Petra, thank you for joining. Oh, Luke and Liam say hi. Hi boys. Those who don't know, those are Kate's twins. So they're super supportive of me, and I love it. They're so cute. I adore them. And actually, one of my cats is just sitting on the table right now. I have Leota here, and she's just on standby. She's on watch. She's on guard. So we're good. All right, so let me kind of go back. Let's see. So again, cats can have soul contracts. They can have karmic debt. They can have courting. Everything and anything we have, cats can have, animals can have. So I definitely recommend checking in with that, and just tuning into your animal and really clearing them as if they were a human. Because honestly, they might have been in a past life. So imagine what all that can entail in their cat form this lifetime. It can get pretty interesting. It can get pretty interesting. And I talked about how looking at energy healing for cats from a galactic standpoint, because really they are intergalactic beings. Some might not know this, but there is actually a feline council. So there is feline council, and they basically are the guardians of the cats, domestic and also big cats as we know them. And cats are, gosh, they are just so intuitively gifted, and they really honestly can see so well beyond the physical existence. If you ever noticed when your cat is snoozing and they are like deep in a slumber and they're like twitchy and like their little paws go in, and you know sometimes the tongue comes out and they do a little blip, you know, they think, oh, they're having nice kitty dreams. And it's like, actually they're on a trip. They're traveling, they are astral projecting, they are just on a mission. They are getting information, and it is really quite fascinating. If you pay attention to the eyes of the, if you look at their eyes, really, they're just portals. They're portals not only to the universe and source, but they're really portals to ourselves. And that's another thing that I will talk about in just a moment. I see there is a question. Is this video going to be on the group timeline? I completely forgot about it and scheduled a session. Isabel, that's a great question. I think it's going to be saved. I don't know what I'll have to do to make that happen, but I am going to do that. And then I'm also probably going to save this video and put it to my own YouTube channel. So it'll be posted there as well. So if we can't figure it out on the EER page, it will definitely at least be on mine. So we will get that squared away for you. So don't worry, you'll be able to watch this. Yeah, okay. So let's go back to portals and cat eyes and all that good stuff. Let's see here. Okay, so there's another note that I have written to myself. Like, honestly, if you could see these notes right now, you would think my brain is like mush because my notes are all over the place. But that's just how the information was kind of coming to me. So I'm like piecing this together in a way that makes sense as I say this all out loud. But again, cats are just highly intuitive. But not only that, they really are the epitome of like unconditional love. And it's really funny because I feel like cats get a really bad rap for the fact that they are more aloof, and you really feel like you have to earn the love and respect from a cat, whereas a dog, sometimes they just take to you instantly and they're your best friend for life. But really, a cat, they're doing so much behind the scenes for you that I don't feel a lot of people realize that, because they will take on energy from us that they feel like, oh, they might not be able to process that right, or they might not understand what this is. So they will take on our energy in a way to protect us and kind of help us and propel us forward. which is so, so beautiful. But then at the same time, if we're not a person who is willing to work through our issues or work through our own blockages, you can imagine how that energy would really pile up on and be a burden to the cat in a sense if we're not doing the work ourselves. And you'll notice that in cats, especially because they will mirror behavior back to you. So it's really interesting because if you notice when your cat is acting a little more rambunctious than usual, or their mood really changes and shifts, and they're just kind of acting outside of their typical personality, a really good question to ask is, are they mirroring back to me? Is there something about their behavior that is actually coming from me that I need to work through and work, like really kind of look inward and dive into? And a lot of the times it's yes, because they're trying to show you the emotional or physical manifestation of what's going on within you. That way you recognize it and be like, oh, okay, this is something that I need to like work with. It's really, really quite interesting. Uh, Hi, Tina. Oh gosh, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. I'm so sorry. But hi, how are you? Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Oh, and Julie left a comment. Okay, my cat and dog are constantly absorbing us. They let me know when energies have come in and I need to clear them. Yeah, exactly. They're almost like at the forefront. They're the guards. They're the guards at our energetic gate. And they will really keep us present in what's going on and keep us aware of what needs to be cleared. It's so it's so freaking cool, really, for lack of a better word. When you think about it, it's just truly fascinating how they are so tethered to us in an energetic way. Haley says, now I want a cat. Get a cat. I highly recommend it. We have 3. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I want more. My husband will probably leave me if I get more cats, but yeah, cats are life. Tina, there you go. See, I think I had it. No, I don't know. I don't know what I did there. Just ignore me, but don't ignore me because I'm on a live. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, back to cats mirroring. I've noticed, so I mentioned a second ago that we have 3 cats in the house. 2 cats are brother and sister, and they are going to be 2 years old on March 24th, and our other cat is 11 years old. So she is very stuck in her ways. Very stuck in her ways. And the other cats, they're young, they're rambunctious, and they are brother and sister, so they are very, very tight knit. They're close. So when one gets really like, I'm getting my zippies, I'm getting the zoomies, and I want to run around the house, the other one just goes right to it, and that's just what they want to do. But I find it really, really funny because I could be, or they could be in a dead sleep. They could just be like completely passed out on the couch. And I could be sitting in the office or in the dining room or wherever I'm working and get like worked up over something, whether just who knows what it is, but all of a sudden my anxiety has kicked in, my central nervous system is like freaking out. And all of a sudden, seconds later, I've got Leota right next to me and she is just acting a fool. And she will just start biting my leg and she'll just go nuts she'll just go nuts. And I will look at her and I'll just be like, okay, are you basically acting like me right now? And she'll just kind of look at me and she'll like do that cute little cat wink. And it's like, okay, I get it. Thank you. I will calm down. I will work on this and clear whatever I need to clear. And then she just looks at me and she's just like, it's almost like an eye roll. Like, I had to wake up for this. Like, you couldn't have figured this out on your own. Like, I needed to help you. But then she'll just go back to bed. And it's really nice. So cats will look out for you, and I'm sure dogs will do the exact same thing. We don't have dogs, so I haven't been able to test the theory, but I guarantee you, they're going to be looking out for your best interest. And really, all animals want to do that because they are not dissimilar to us. They have the exact same needs. You know, they want to be fed, they want to be loved, they want to feel safe, and they want to feel like they are in a place where there is harmony and no stress in the world, you know, which again, that is basically what all we want as humans as well. So it's really cool. I'm probably going to say that a lot because again, I think it's just really cool. And the more I find out about all of this, the more I am just kind of obsessed with it. All right, so does anybody have any questions so far? And oh, hi, Larissa. Dina, my cat is listening to you right now. Yeah, I bet she is. She's very attentive. My dogs are listening too. Well, you know why? It's because they like the representation. That's that's really what it boils down to, and I love that. I love being able to speak on their behalf when I'm given the opportunity. All right, so okay, so no questions so far. Cool. So I'm gonna kind of keep on going. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so we talked about their power and how they have the same energy as us. Another thing that is very similar between cats and humans is that we operate out of our free will. Cats are very much the same, and animals are very much the same. If there is something that they do not want, they'll tell you. And you can't make a cat or an animal do anything they don't want to do. And so it's funny because it's really something that we have to learn as, I don't want to say owners, but as the animal's human, it's something that we really have to learn to be able to respect their boundaries. And animals will always let you know what their boundaries are. Oftentimes, we will look at a cat that we deem is aggressive when the cat's not really being aggressive at all. They're just showing you what their limits are. And we have to just respect that and learn those limitations and learn what their boundaries are. And I do get quite a few clients that come to me about, really aggressive cats, and it's like, well, it's a multitude of things, but are you respecting their boundaries? And that's why I have that in the protocol as well, because it's something that often gets missed, because as a person who is taking care of an animal, we expect that animal to act a certain way or treat us a certain way. We expect that relationship to be in a certain mold. But if that's not in the highest truth and good of the animal, they're going to tell you because they want to be who they are meant to be. And sometimes that could just be a curmudgeon, or it could be a cat that likes to act naughty, as they say. A great example of that is our 11-year-old Columbia. She is very set in her ways. She is not a fan of the kittens in the house. They're not even kittens anymore, they're almost 2, but I still call them the kittens. And she really has no need for them. And I've worked with them, Kate has worked with them, trying to create more harmony. And it's not even like there is a lot of tension or anything in the house. It's just when they get near her, she's like, no. She starts hissing, and that's her limitation. Like, they can only just get that far. And she is very content with that. She is happy being a curmudgeon, and she's happy and content exerting that free will and exerting those boundaries. So it's something that we just kind of have to learn to respect, and there's definitely an ebb and flow to it as well. There's another cat that I work with, bless him, his name is Luigi, and he's literally the sweetest cat, and he's young too, and he's so rambunctious, and he's just so funny. And every time I get the opportunity to connect with him, it's usually in regards to his older cat sister, who is a little bit like Columbia in the sense where she just likes things to be calm and quiet, and she likes her personal space. And Luigi is just so taken with her that he's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with you, I want to play with you, I want to hang out, let's just do this. And she's just like, no, I'm not about this, no thank you. And so when I was connected with Luigi, I asked him, I was like, so why are you messing with your sister? And he's just like, because I want to, it's fun. And that was his response. And that's sometimes that's as simple as it gets. Like, they just want to have fun, and they have the same needs as we do. When Luigi is messing with his sister, he is nurturing his inner kitten. And he is just living his best life. And if she's mad about it, well, his theory is, well, that's on her. She needs to figure it out and get over it. So it's really quite funny and fascinating. I'm making sure that I'm like scrolling down the comments to make sure I'm like caught up with everybody. So yeah, just cats and free will. They have it, they're going to exert it, and we need to just learn their boundaries and be able to honor that. and keep up with that, because that's definitely a very important aspect of working with animals and taking care of animals. Now, when a cat is being aggressive, it could also be not just their free will. Obviously, something else could be going on. And I know somebody had left a comment about this when I initially posted that I was going to be going live today. I don't remember who it was because I have a not great memory. Petra, I think it might have been. I think you and I might have been chatting about this. And if so, feel free to chime in. Aggression can come from many things. And I had mentioned before that thinking more galactically in terms of past life and karmic issues and like soul memory imprints and things like that are really, really important with cats, especially when you determine that they are in your monad group and your oversoul group, because they definitely can be. Always look into that where it comes to, like Kate had mentioned, the light score, the relationship light score. Well, you can have the exact same thing with your cat, or your animals can have the exact same thing within themselves. Cats can definitely see spirits. Do they all have that gift? Yes. As far as my understanding, yes. It's actually, I don't even know how much I want to go into this because it's kind of out there, but certain cats have certain gifts. They pretty much can do everything. However, some cats are better at specific things than others, like time travel and like astral projection being one of them, being able to see spirits and being able to be in touch with the spiritual realm is another. Different cats have different skill sets, and you can kind of get a feel for what your cat's skill set is if you just kind of tune into their behavior and maybe muscle test on their behalf and just kind of ask questions. That's a really good way to just kind of get a feel for what's going on with them. There's a lot that I've channeled in the past regarding this, but I've just never put the content out. So it's something that I will be having to dive back into sooner rather than later, because I feel like it's more is going to come through and it'll be time to actually put that information out there. So going back to aggression and the light score. So everybody that lives in that house with your animal, check the light score. So it could be the light score between you and the animal and the other animal, the animal and the child in the house, like whatever combination of that, get those light scores up to 100%. Check to see if there is any past life trauma, check to see if there is any karmic debt, check to see if they are influenced by another person's energy in the house or the house itself. And if that's the case, figure out what that level of influence is on a scale of 1 to 10 and try to get it down to a 0 and just clear everything that comes up and any offshoots of it that might have attached to another person in the house. You would be surprised how there's just, it just kind of like goes everywhere sometimes. So always a good thing to look into. Let's see here. What do I want to talk? So where do I want to go next? Let's see. So a while ago, probably a year and a half ago, and I don't know if Kate's still on because I know she has an appointment during this. Kate and I were working on a feline energy healing program. And it was something that ended up being put on the back burner for a multitude of reasons. But it will come out, it'll come out at some point, and it'll be good. I promise it'll be really good. But one of the things that we learned is that primarily when it comes to energetic imbalances within an animal, it kind of boils down to two main categories, and that is stress and safety. So one of the things that you can check when you tune into an animal for the first time, whenever they are presented to you with a certain behavior that the owner would like to adjust or look into, or you can just ask, okay, well, is the underlying cause of this the fact that they don't feel safe or that they're feeling stressed? And then just kind of drill down from there, because you'll notice like litter box behavior or just their bowel movements, honestly. Like if a cat's having diarrhea or just not using the litter box properly, it's more than likely something along the lines of stress. And often it can be safety too, because that's one of the ones that kind of falls under both little tiers. But food allergies often comes from not feeling safe. Um, there's just there's a lot that can kind of be broken down from that in different little offshoots, but really it's stress and it's safety. So I feel like that's also a really good way to start if you're just kind of tuning into an animal and you're like, okay, well, I don't know where to go. But if you're looking at an aspect where they don't feel safe and it's like, okay, well, is this an energetic version of not feeling safe or a physical? Is there something going on in the house? Is there a person in the house that maybe is negatively impacting them? And then just kind of go from there and muscle test and just use your intuition and kind of drill down and see what's going on. But stress and safety are a really good place to start. And that can be said for, again, aggression, litter box behavior, really the list goes on. Upper respiratory infections, they are often caused by safety issues and, well, and stress a little bit too, but definitely kind of see how that breaks down. Petra, I will do that. I haven't yet in case you wanted to check what's going on. Okay, so I don't think I'll be doing any like troubleshooting in this session. This is definitely more of like an educational video, just talking about who, what, when, where, and why. But if it's something that you want to work with me with, just shoot me a message and we can figure something out. Okay, Julie just asked a question. Do you find that cats absorbed emotions from a distance? Yeah, absolutely. What kind of distance are we talking about? Like within the home or outside the home, or are we talking like 3 states over? Because there's definitely, I would say, a radius of absorption. So I'll be interested to see what your response is to that. We can kind of dive a little deeper into that question. And while I'm waiting for Julie to respond again, if anybody wants to ask questions based on whatever I've said before, feel free. I know I am like I'm probably throwing out a lot of stuff at once, and it's probably because I'm a little nervous to be live and I'm trying to stay on track here. So feel free to just ask questions as I say things and I will dive a little deeper. Okay, so when her daughter is in London, do you feel? Yeah, so because your animal would be attuned to your daughter's energy, because obviously there's a connection there, then yes, there would be a level of absorption. Just whenever you have any type of bond between animal and human, really the location doesn't matter because there is just that, I don't want to say it's like a telepathic knowing, but it pretty much is. There's an energetic resonance between the two of you. So distance really does not matter. I mean, it's not like your animal is going to absorb the emotions of some, Tom, Dick, or Harry that they don't know that is just kind of like walking down the street. I mean, maybe they would, but I feel like they've got other things to kind of worry about, and usually it's just really the people that they're connected to in like their monad group, their oversoul group, and then especially, just within the home. Okay, so Larissa asks, snoring cat health concern. Okay, well, there's a couple of different things to look at here. When did the snoring start? Would be the first question to dive into. And then again, muscle test whether or not, stress or safety. But I would focus in on when it started because there's a lot that you can rule out based on timeline, just to see if there was something that might have triggered it or if there was anything traumatic that happened at that time that you need to clear around. I mean, if you don't feel as though if the cat's having a hard time breathing, obviously there would be a level of concern with that. But sometimes a cat just snores because they are deep in their slumber. And oftentimes snoring can also be kind of like a release of energy for them as well. So just tune in to your cat and just kind of see what they're telling you and then go from there. But as long as you don't feel like they're having trouble breathing, I probably wouldn't worry too much about it, but I'm not a veterinarian, obviously. I just use my intuition and just kind of let the cat guide me. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, I would definitely look into what happens when it started and go from there. Okay, so okay, we covered that, covered that, covered that. Oh, I'm going through my list really well here. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm getting through it. All right, so I'm gonna stretch myself out for this one. Shielding. That is one of the big topics that I wanted to cover today, and it might actually be the most important. Um, but shielding is so important, and especially as you know, Julie and I were just talking about her daughter and how the cat, could absorb energies even while the person is gone. And that's why shielding is so important. Now, you know, Kate has talked about this a lot, and that's the bioenergetic shield and getting that up to a functioning 10 out of 10. I know that's something that we do for ourselves, but we can certainly do that for our animals as well. And it's probably really important for us to do it for animals because as we are energy healers and we're light workers and we're holding space for other people, especially like in this realm and doing entity work, you know, it does not take much for that energy to jump to your animal, especially if you're like cats love to sleep next to computers. They love to sleep next to things that are warm, like your modem and things like that. So it honestly does not take much for that energy to jump. So we want to make sure that that cat or dog or whatever animal you have in your house is completely protected. So the best way to do that is number one, get their light score up to 100%, get their bioenergetic shield functioning at a 10 out of 10. Always be connected to source, never connect to the actual person, doing like the I am statements. I mean, I know that is something that we talk about a lot in this group, but there's another facet to the reason why, and it's just not only are we protecting ourselves, but we're protecting our animals and we're protecting the other people in our house by connecting to source and doing it that way because we're avoiding other attachments and things like that. If you are finding that it's taking a while to get your animal's light score up or to get their bioenergetic shield up and running, you can put a diamond shield around them to kind of tie them over in the meantime. And I will type up a phrase for that I use for clients to create that diamond shield. I will type that up and post it to the group at some point in time today. But basically that diamond shield is something that covers them completely, and it just keeps any energy that is not inherently their own away from them. And we love that because cats just want to live their best life. Animals just want to live their best life, and they don't need to be dealing with all of our nonsense sometimes. So diamond shields are great. Pretty much every cat that I work with, I always end up doing some form of shielding for them, but I do it based on their request. If they truly do not want a shield for whatever the reason, I am going to honor and respect that. I always ask before I do it. Sometimes I honestly can't do a shield until their light score is 100% because there's too much interference. It's just a matter of kind of flowing through that and asking questions and doing the best you can. If for whatever the reason the shielding isn't, you can't put that in place, you're still working on the light score, you're still working on the bioenergetic shield. Another really great way to help absorb the negative and just offensive energy in the house that could attach to your animal is using crystals, and making a point to actually program your crystals to help your animal as well. So I have a lot of amethyst throughout the house. I actually have an amethyst in the shape of a cat. And I typically keep this next to my desk while I work. And I just set that intention to protect not only me, but the cats that I'm working on and the cats within the house. So that is another line of defense that I use, just to make sure that no energy that is not theirs is getting through and penetrating their nice little bubble. So yeah, crystals are a great way. We just need to, set that intention to protect the cat as well. Okay, let's see here. What else? Okay. So I know I had put out that protocol document. I don't even know how long ago, maybe a week or so ago, and a lot of you downloaded it, which is awesome. Thank you guys so much. And quite a few of you have come back and said, hey, this is great, this really helped, which is even better and exactly what I wanted. One of the things that I wanted to kind of touch base on regarding that document is, and I kind of even skipped this when I first wrote it just because I didn't want this document to be like 17 pages long, but when you're working with an animal, make sure to ask about the other people in the house too. I know I mentioned that earlier in the session, but you would just be surprised the level of influence that other people in the house have over our pets. So include that in the questioning too. Ask about other pets, ask about how many people live in the house, and that will really kind of open the session up for deeper healing for the animal. Let's see. Okay, oh, this is a good one too. So I don't know how you guys do your energy healing sessions in general, and I certainly don't know how you do them with animals, but outside of the protocol that I typed up, one of the things that I do is I tend to split my cat communication and energy healing sessions over 2 days. And I never used to do that, but I've learned over time that clearing energy obviously shifts energy, and it changes the response sometimes from cats. So when I tune into a cat, depending on what the circumstances are, and I ask them, you know, what's the most important thing that you want me to clear from you today? What do you want gone? You know, if I clear that energy, and depending on how dense it is, they might process really quickly and just be like, I'm done. And I have to honor that. Or it could be that they are on this one path and they want me to clear this, this, and this. And then all of a sudden, the shift changes really quick. And you can just kind of tell when that happens, or at least I can. And all of a sudden now I'm completely focusing on something else. And it's like an energetic whiplash in a sense. And it's like, okay, well, I really want to make sure that I tied up this other aspect of the session in a nice little bow. You know, if there was any disconnections, I want to make sure that we're reconnected. If there's any repercussions, I want to make sure that those are taken care of. So what I'll do is I will focus on exactly what that cat wants me to clear and honor that. But if I will connect with them the following day as like a part 2 and clear up those repercussions. And I feel like that is much more beneficial for the animal, cats especially, rather than trying to clear everything at once or the most in that 45-minute session that you've kind of got, like, you know, blocked in for them. It allows them to process the energy more gently. It gives them more time just to kind of wrap their head around what's going on. So I definitely recommend kind of splitting up sessions. Sometimes you just don't need to if you're only clearing trapped emotions and it's a pretty just, you know, just you're clearing the energy that is a lesser density than other things. But if you're doing any kind of entity clearing or you're doing anything that is just really, really heavy and you can feel it, definitely split it up into 2 sessions. The animal's owner person is honestly going to appreciate it because they're going to feel like they're getting more value out of that session, and the animal's going to appreciate it too. And it takes no extra time for you. You're just kind of splitting it up over 2 days. There's this cat that I'm working on now. I'm going to be going into like day 3 of doing this one session because the energy is so dense, and they are just like, no, we can go tomorrow. We'll just give us the day. We're going to recalibrate. We'll reconvene tomorrow. And it's like, okay, I'm good for that. I'm here when you need me. So that's something to take into consideration, and there's no fault in that. So definitely think about that when you're working with animals. Let's see here. What else? Okay. All right. So we've got like one more topic there. Again, any questions so far? Let me see what comes through here. Okay, something else just came to mind to say here is that, you know, when you're working on people and you're in mid-session and all of a sudden they're like, oh man, I've got this pain, I can feel it in my liver, or I've got this pain and I can feel it, you know, in my thigh, you know, typically animals don't do that. Like, they don't have a traditional voice. And if you're doing email sessions, it's not like you're actually visually seeing the cat if there's any kind of shift going on with them, if they're showing any signs of clearing. You know, you don't really have that same luxury as you do sometimes if you're doing a live session with a person. So whenever you're doing animal sessions and you clear something and you're like, okay, this felt heavier than others, you know, check in with that cat or check in with that animal and just be like, okay, how are you doing after that? Are you good? You know, when you're about to clear something, ask them if it's safe for them to clear it. Ask them if they want to have that energy cleared. That's another big thing too, get permission. But just kind of keep tuning in and just make sure, like, are you good? Do you want me to continue? How are you feeling? Is anything else coming up? You know, and just kind of just keep checking in because you have to be their eyes and ears sometimes when you're doing this work. So that is something that is really important to do. Just wanted to also put that out there as well because that's heard that little message come through. So I'm going to reiterate that. I'm also going to show I have my little segment cat here. She's watching over this Facebook Live. So definitely being guided right now, which is beautiful, and I love that. Okay, so far no questions have come up, which either I am blindsiding you all with information and you are just going to take a while to process all of this, or I'm doing an awesome job explaining it. Could go either way. So the next thing that I want to address, and really kind of the last thing, so if there's, again, any questions that you've got, just drop them in the comments, and I'll get to them before I wrap up. Okay, so maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe? I don't know. I have no sense of time anymore since I was home all the time. But maybe 2 weeks ago, I was working and clearing from myself, and I just had this like nugget of information dropped in my brain, and it was about the inner cat. And you know how like we joke about how like if a person is really, really connected to cats and they're like, oh, like my inner cat, you know, we just like make that kind of joke. And I never really thought about it actually being like a real thing, but lo and behold, it's a real thing. So obviously we have different aspects of consciousness. Like I have a cat consciousness because I work so closely with cats. Cats are life. I think about cats all of the time. I've never met a cat I haven't completely loved. Cats are life. So I for sure have a cat consciousness. There is no question about it. But an inner cat is actually different, and it's more tied to our divine feminine. And this is really, really interesting because for someone who I am so connected to cats, you would think, oh man, her inner cat must be like stellar. When I actually figured out that it exists and I checked into it, it was like a negative 10 out of 10. And I'm like, how is this possible? Like, what did I do? How did I mess up my inner cat so bad? Like, what happened? And it's really interesting because the inner cat plays such a big role in how we feel about ourselves. It plays such a big role in our creativity, our self-love, our ability to set boundaries, our personal will, power, being able to strike a balance between working and a resting state. It plays a part in basically how we can see beyond the physical world, and just it plays a part in our intuition as well. So when I was like, oh my gosh, mine's a negative 10, like that's not great. It's not good at all. I'm not happy about that. So I got to clearing. I went in on this, and I ended up clearing so much energy of like negative talk and self-sabotage and self-cords and just even like negative thoughts against myself, because my inner critic, she does not turn off. And it has been a struggle to get her to calm down. So when I was like clearing this inner cat, it was like this huge veil was lifted from me. And actually I did have veils over my inner cat as well. And I'm telling you this because the clearing of this inner cat and working with this inner cat is literally proof in me doing this Facebook Live, because I am terrified of public speaking, and I am terrified of doing live sessions. Like I'm cool recording myself and doing videos for my YouTube channel or Instagram or what have you, where like I can edit it. But doing things live, are you kidding? No, thank you. That was just never in my wheelhouse, never something that I ever wanted to do. And even when Kate brought it up to me earlier in the week, I was like, my gut reaction is to say no, but I know that's like the fight or flight in me. So I like had to overcome that. But I truly don't believe if I hadn't started addressing that inner cat that I would even be doing this session right now. So I just find this whole concept completely fascinating. And I've been learning that not everyone has an inner cat. Someone who identifies as a feline starseed, which obviously, well, I'm pointing to the wrong side again because I'm flipped over. I am a feline starseed for sure. That is where my soul originates from, just without a doubt. But then also just more traditional star seeds can have that inner cat with them as well. I'm sure there's other groups that have the inner cat. I am still learning this, but it's definitely something that you can muscle test for to determine what your inner cat is and how happy she is, and figure out what you can do to bring more harmony in. And when you start working with your inner cat, like, please share your results with me, because I'm fascinated by this concept. And this just seems really, really new to me because it's not something I ever would have thought about. And the results have been pretty freaking awesome, not gonna lie. Pretty freaking awesome. So inner cat, check in with her, see how she's doing. And again, it is different from the cat consciousness. So if you do have that, also check in as well. And yeah, the inner cat is paired into the divine feminine. So you can even just kind of check to see how happy your divine feminine is if you're feeling saucy. And if you want to go down that rabbit hole, which I guarantee you would probably be a rabbit hole. Oh, let's see. Julie says you would know that you are. Oh, thank you, Julie. Man, if you knew how sweaty my armpits are right now, you would laugh. Just doing it. That was probably TMI, but oh well, it's live. I can't go back now. Maybe I'll edit that part out when I actually edit this video to post it on YouTube, or I'll just leave it in there thinking it's charming, and we can go from that. Let's see here. Okay, so I think I actually went through all of my talking points. So if you guys have any questions, type them. I want to hear them. And we can just kind of have a little more of a cat conversation and go from there. Okay, so Tina says yes. I don't know what that was for. I don't know if there's a delay versus what I'm saying and you guys seeing it. So yeah, definitely ask your questions. And if there's anything that you think of after the fact, like, you can shoot me a message, send me an email, whatever works for you, and we can talk more about this. What else? Oh, so somebody in the group had mentioned wanting my pre-session ritual. And pretty much my pre-session ritual is not unlike what Kate has already put out regarding working with other people, and just basically asking those same questions to figure out what connection you have to them and what to clear from them, if there's any contracts, if there's anything that you need to know or clear from yourself in order to work with that person. I do the exact same thing for pets as well, and I do it also for their owner, because typically I find that if the human is coming to me for them to have me work on their pet, there's a reason for that, and there's some kind of connection. So I always like to dive in and figure out what that connection is. So that is part of my pre-session ritual, as well as prancing around my house and dancing to pop music. And I try to do that every day because it makes me happy and it gets my vibration up and it gets me out of my head, which that for me is key in working with clients, because if I'm too much in my head, I am blocking any kind of guidance that I'm getting from outside sources. So I will prance around my house, listen to like NSYNC or something, you know, like relive my youth, and then I get to work. I also call in working with Sekhmet, who is one of my guides, as well as the Feline Council. I will bring them in as well if I feel like I need to. Sometimes I just don't feel like I have to, and I'll just leave them to just do their own thing. I typically bring them in if I'm going to be trying to channel any information for the well-being of cats, like as a collective. Whenever I'm doing any kind of cat collective information, I will always contact the Feline Council and have them bring the information to me. So there's that. Okay, so Julie says my inner cat is 4 out of 10. How do I get it higher? So, I mean, honestly, the same way that you would clear any kind of metric, and that is just asking, like, what can I clear to make my inner cat happy? Sometimes it's not actually clearing anything at all, and it might be something that you need to bring in to make your inner cat happy. Actually, let me bust out my phone here real quick, because I've been keeping notes of what I've been working on when I'm working with my inner cat. So let me bust these out real quick. All right, so what did I work with? So what, okay, yeah, so I had to negative talk was a huge thing. Negative thoughts against myself, self-created portals. I had them in my chakras. I had windows in my systems. I had vortexes in my glands. I had veils over my inner cat that I created myself. And that was basically just me blocking my own power because I was afraid of it. Procrastination was another one. Oh, and I had, so to make the inner cat happy, one of the things I had to bring in was just being in nature more and spending more time basically outside. So I have been doing that the last couple of days, especially like I'm in Florida. And now that it is like the weather is actually nice, it's bearable to be outside. So in the morning, I've been sitting outside and doing like a quick like 7-minute Merkaba activation. And that has been really, really good for me as well. So sometimes it's just a matter of bringing in energy to make it happy. Another thing that you might want to clear is limiting beliefs against yourself. And then self-cords, like basically cording that you do to hold yourself back. That would be another. Let's see what else is there. I think that's all that I've cleared so far, and I'm honestly still working on her. So she's a work in progress, but I am okay with that because it is a relationship that I am finally embracing, and I know that we're going to be learning from each other. So I feel like that's kind of an important thing to say too, is that the inner cat is definitely an evolution. Just to look at how much cats have evolved since their inception. They have certainly evolved, and so have we. So the inner cat will do the exact same thing. But yeah, I wouldn't, yeah, so Julie, when you're working on your inner cat, not only is it energy to be cleared, but what energy do you need to bring in? Sometimes it might just be installing light codes. You just never know. So I feel like that's probably a good starter. And then, oh, hi Natalie, how you doing? Thank you for joining, I appreciate it. Oh, you're welcome, Julie, great advice. I try. Hopefully that works out for you. Okay, so I think I have everything covered. Again, if you all have any questions that you think of after the fact, let me know. I am happy to answer them. I am going to be actually typing up a shielding protocol, just like I did with the actually working with animals protocol. I'm going to do a shielding version of that as well. So I've started writing it. I'm going to try to finish it and get that all made up nice and pretty for you. And when it's done, I will put it in the group as well. Just that way you guys have it. And it's just something quick to look at and just kind of remind you. Because that's my, like, honestly, like when I'm working with an animal, cats especially, I get so distracted by the cat that sometimes I forget to ask certain things. So I had to like make that list for myself. So when I like say that I use that protocol, I use that protocol because sometimes I just don't remember things because I'm just like, oh, you're so cute, you're so funny, like I love you, like let's be friends. So I actually need to like jog my memory and be like, no, I'm actually here for a reason. Let's not get blindsided by like toe beams and how cute a cat is. There's things to do. So I refer to that protocol quite often. Even I'm happy that I made it. And I will do the same thing for shielding as well. And whatever other information kind of comes through that needs to be addressed. All right, so I think that is it. You've got like, this is like your final countdown for any other comments, questions, suggestions, whatever you've got. And then I will sign off for the day. And I think this will already be posted to the group by the time this is all done. So you're amazing, Jessica. Learned so much from today's session. Oh, thank you, Julie. You were too kind. You were honestly like the sweetest. You're all the sweetest. The fact that anybody watched this live today, I'm just like, wow, that's great. Cool. I didn't think that actually happened. So thank you for watching and being a part of the session and asking questions, leaving comments, and allowing me to be here and taking the time to watch. I appreciate it. And I hope to talk to y'all soon. So I'm going to sign off. Have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And I will touch base later. Bye, guys. Thanks.